hard time finding it before. Okay, good morning. So I'm hoping to make
So
this as a
women, the women M&Ms
Uh-huh.
will, the woman ones will be less feminine now.
Oh, I see.
Hey,
good morning, Rob. Okay, so let's get started. Yeah, all right. So this is hopefully a series that will be at 10 o'clock every Friday, typically ranging from 30 to 50 minutes to help some of the newer agents, but it doesn't preclude any of the more seasoned agents from joining because there's a lot of fundamentals in there. We'll start today with 5 income producing activities that I think everybody needs to visit periodically and make sure that you have a professional business that you're running. And moving forward, we might even have a day where we open it to discussion. Regardless, feel free to interact on these webinars. The only people going to see them is all of you. It's by link only. It's not being advertised anywhere else. It's for your purposes and learning. And, we'll gear it towards different topics depending on the group's needs. I mean, if we need more income producing activities or lead generation stuff, we can do that. If we need more scripts and dialogues, we can do that. If we need to show you how to use the MLS, how to do a CMA, how to use contracts, we can do that. We'll delve into different topics to make your job a little easier and so you can become more professional, more productive. That's the goal of today, and that's the goal of the Fridays specifically. But again, it's geared toward all of you. All of you will be at different levels. The majority of you are on the newer side. And even if you had your license more than 6 months or a couple years, some of you have not really been practicing real estate, so this is perfect for you. Um, but yeah, that's the goal of these webinars for all of you, so you can improve your skill. Uh, I'm thinking possibly of doing a webinar because some of you have other jobs on how to manage real estate while you do have another job, and with the intent of, if you'd like, to fire your other job in 90 days, the things that you can do to be productive, etc. Now, again, for anybody else, there's always things in there, little nuggets that might help you in your own business to be more productive and efficient. It's all about efficiency. So let's go through. Feel free to use the chat box. Feel free to stop me if you want to elaborate, if you want to ask questions. We're going to go at your speed. I don't have an agenda to run quickly, and I certainly don't want to hear my voice the entire time. So, again, this is designed to be interactive. Some of you who are shy, you're in a contact sport. Real estate and sales is a contact sport. So fail forward and fail here in this lab. There's no right and wrong. I just want you to feel comfortable. That being said, today's topic is understanding income producing activities. And unfortunately, being realtors, independent contractors, most realtors, present company not included, do not take their job as a job. Even if you have a primary job and this is your secondary, you got to take it as a job. And the fact that you're not clocking in and nobody's watching over you, most realtors waste their time with unproductive income, non-income producing activities. Everybody has the same 24 hours is what we do with it. And understanding these producing income producing activities is important for your production efficiency, and also for you to feel that you're not in a rat race, that you're not in a cycle where you're continuously on a hamster wheel. So let's go through this. You can take notes. This will all be recorded. I'll send you the link, and whatever is easiest for all of you. So your daily schedule. I'm talking for those of you who are looking to make this a full-time job, but even if you're not, whatever it is you're designing per day, per week for real estate, 85% of that time should be obligated to income producing activities. And we'll do a little assignment, which by the time all of you come back next week, you'll be shocked probably at where you're really wasting your time or spending your time. It's going to be a nice wake up call for all of you. Since most of us have difficulty staying focused on income producing activities, it's important that we review them today and look deeper into each one to become more focused on them to fully understand their importance. Okay, so there are 5 income producing activities. Okay, and see a typo, could be my dyslexic side here. Okay, so prospecting or lead generation. We're in a contact sport. This is not Starbucks where people are coming to us. You need to stay in business, especially at the highest possible level. You need to be able to generate business, whether you call it prospecting or lead generation, is the foundational cornerstone of any successful sales business. Now, some of you who have been around me have heard me say this before. When you prospect or lead generation, you're filling your pipeline. It's the equivalent of looking for targets or looking for a pond that has fish. It will make you money, but it will not make you rich. Okay, especially if you don't do it correctly. A professional real estate person should be spending a minimum 2 hours a day lead generation and prospecting. Now, what does that mean? Not to scare all of you. I'm not saying you have to cold call people or door knock. I mean, although it's a productive way if done correctly, trained by me. Now, it could mean during the 2 hours you're writing handwritten notes, you're sending specific targeted emails, individualized emails, text messages, maybe making calls, maybe using your social media with Instagram or what is it called? The Facebook messenger, whatever it's called, but not sending things to connect with people pertaining to real estate, that you're spending your time doing that. Now, for those of you working another job, you really have to be specific and really, really focus. I mean, if you have no business, you need to generate business. So let me share with you. You may have heard people say, some of the top trainers, you got to talk to 20 to 25 people a day. Yeah, that is true, and there's a reason for it. The average person that you'll talk to, whether it's a sphere, whether it's an expired or cancel listing, or for sale by owner, an open house person, may not need to buy or sell real estate a day. So, on average, by talking to around 25 people a day, you're going to find someone, we're looking for the one person that's looking to buy, sell, invest, or can give us a legitimate referral. That's the point of that. Real estate is a numbers game. Clearly, the quality of the leads that you have, the higher your skill level, the less you have to talk to people, the better your targets are. Now, what do we need to do? Well, we can call, and calling can mean a variety of different things. It does not have to be cold calling. I don't advocate cold calling. I think it's professional suicide. I've been in this business long enough. It's the quickest way to burn of any agents. I've done that. Okay, I've had my share of cold calling, but I look at targeted calls, whether it's a for rent by owner, for sell by owner, an expired or a cancel listing, whether it's somebody in your sphere, your past clients, an internet lead, whether it's a sign call, whether it's you're getting a lead from some of the lead providers or referral from another agent, uh, or just talking to even your current clients or prospects. One of the ways, 25 contacts, it's not as hard as you think it is. Now, if I'm taking Joe Smith out, or if I'm calling to confirm an appointment, here's the quickest way you can have an additional contact. Yes, you're talking to Joe, you're taking him out, but if you're asking during that phone call or during the time you're going out, Joe, who else do you know that I can help? And clearly, we want to get a referral, but even if he says, I can't think of anyone, that's a contact because you asked for new business. Okay. Anytime you give your clients a weekly update, ask them for new business, and you can do it kind of non-salesy. You know what, Mary? I really love working with you. Who else do you know that I can help? Oh, you know what, Bob, Mary? I'm excited for you that you're buying this house, but I'm disappointed I'm losing you as a client. I need more great clients like you. Who else do you know that I can help? It doesn't sound salesy, and it's a contact. It's a legitimate contact with people that like you and respect you and want to help you. They're not going to think of it unless you bring it top to mind. I had a policy for a while pre-pandemic. I used to go to Starbucks. I used to go to the go have a meal somewhere. I used to hand my business cards everywhere. And I used to make, we realtors, we're always looking, to get our name out there. Make it jokingly even. It's a numbers game. So we need to not be a secret agent. We need to either call, door knock, do open houses, do things strategically with respect to farming, geographic farming, or people farming, okay, or networking. But you need to talk to enough people a day. um, Clearly, if you're looking to do 1 to 4 deals a year, it's really not applicable to you. If you're looking to produce at the highest possible level and make a good income, then it is applicable. And then reach out to me about working on your skills, your scripts, your dialogues, your objection handlers. But in other words, successful sales business, we got to talk to people. And there's different ways of doing that without sounding like a pushy salesperson. Okay. And if you bring value to the conversation or to your social media or to your emails, then people stay in conversation. Okay. So the number one thing we got to prospect or lead generate. And again, you just got to block time and treat that just like an appointment. I don't cancel my prospecting sessions. I don't cancel my lead follow up sessions. I don't cancel my set. If somebody told me, Dan, come list me today at 10 o'clock, guess what? I would still be on this webinar. When I have something on my schedule, it stays on my schedule. I don't drop things to avoid other things. This is important to train the agents in this company. Okay. When I have something on my schedule, guess what? I'm unavailable at that time. So you have to have a schedule. You got to lead generate, whatever that means to you. Um, Rob, for example, I know that you go out and drop communities 150 doors a day religiously, rain or shine. Well, that's prospecting. That's gotten you some business, right?
Yep,
And you do it religiously. I mean, it's not
yep,
something that happen overnight. You just do it come rain or shine.
yep.
There you go. If it's on your schedule, it has to stay on your schedule. And for some of you, Susanna, that might mean you reach out in a nice way to the people you do business on your rental business. They know that you're a realtor. They already trust you and like you. Andrew, you're doing taxes, for example. Offer that opportunity to people that trust you with their most important needs, staying out of jail, or paying the IRS too much money. So if they trust you for that, they'll trust you with their most important investment. And it's easier to do that versus randomly cold calling. Don't make the stupid mistake that I did. I had a sales manager go knock on these doors. Here's the phone book. I did that, but that was stupid. And the problem is they can't teach you what they don't know. In their defense, they teach you what they think is good, but you can't use the same antiquated techniques. Okay, so we have to talk to enough people. Don't be a secret agent. Make yourself a commitment. I'm going to give out 5 or 10 business cards a day to strangers. Go to Ralph's, boom. Go to Walmart, boom. Go to have my car being parked somewhere or clean, boom. Give a business card. You go through the drive-through, give a business card. I don't care if they throw it away. Somewhere it's going to stick. Okay, so lead generation is like finding targets and getting your pipeline filled up. Okay, let's go to the thing where everybody drops it. If anybody has any questions, please stop me. Number 2, lead follow up. We must become fanatical about lead follow up. Don't overprotect your leads, overcall them and be direct. And I'll show you how you can do that. Here's something you may have heard me say, and this is the secret sauce to my success. 82% of your business will come from lead follow-up, not the initial contact. If you talk to 100 prospects, 82 of them will need additional contact. Most appointments, this is a statistic that's proven, happen between the 5th and the 12th contacts. If any of you want to look at my CRM and you see how long I followed up on certain people, and the tenacity of that, some of you would have already given up. I don't give up. I have a policy. I follow up until they get a restraining order or until they do business with me. It's that simple. Okay. I'm fanatical when it comes to that. Lead follow up is nurturing your investment. Look at this. You worked hard to do an open house for 3 to 5 hours. You worked hard and you spent money on your flyers or door hangers or postcards, and you either dropped them or had somebody mail those out. You paid a referral fee for some sort of a company to give you referrals. Okay. You got a lead. But if you're not going to follow up on them intensely, you just flush the money down the toilet. No reason to do the open house. If you do a Saturday open house, you should call those people that evening and thank them, or at the latest by Sunday, to set appointments for the week or the weekend. Lead follow up is where you get rich. Lead follow up, where most realtors, where most anybody in most sales suck. Pretty much. Straightforward. And it's something you can absolutely control. The people that joined this company didn't join because I'm very, very appealing, and charismatic first day. I didn't put something in the Kool-Aid. They joined because I was relentless in following up on them and providing value. Okay. So lead follow up. None of you, I imagine, got married after the first date or became boyfriend, girlfriend with somebody after the first date. Well, look at that as lead follow up. Okay. It takes time. It's a courting, it's a courtship in here. It's developing that trust. Some prospects will move up the ladder, some will move down the ladder, and that's okay. But lead follow up is just as important as lead generation. We'll do a special class just on that. So that's the second thing in your daily schedule. Everybody, any questions so far?
No.
Okay. Number three, here's the reason we do number one and number two. You do lead generation. You set up in an open house. You call people. You do lead follow up in order to get this appointments. Going on valid qualified appointment is where we get signatures on the listing contract and create a new account receivable. We're generating something of value. When you get a listing contract, unless you price the home ridiculously high, you're pretty much guaranteed in this market to get a paycheck. Okay. That's what we get paid on for the sale. Or if you're writing a purchase contract, going on the appointment and showing the property or just the listing, it's not enough. We need to get that value, generating that point of value. We need to go on valid buyers and seller appointments. Okay, that's where you want to go on. That's the goal of lead follow up, is to set an appointment. That's what you're looking to do. Some of you may say, I want to set one appointment a day. Some of you might say, I want to set an appointment a week or 2 appointments a week. Your goals are going to vary based on your production goals, your skill set. That's all going to vary, but your whole goal is to get the appointment, showing properties to buyers or listing appointment. And part of your appointment, yeah, so this is where you make your money. You're not doing all of this just to write contracts and to get experience to show properties. Nobody cares about that. Your whole goal is to get a valid buyer into escrow, a valid seller into a listing contract that will lead to a purchase contract, and in some cases even double ending your deal and getting both sides of the commission. Any questions so far on that?
No.
Okay. Am I going too fast or am I going at good enough speed?
Going
You're-
perfect.
It's fine.
Okay. Now let's stick with appointments. When we go on appointments, unfortunately, human nature, we're judged on three things. We're evaluated on three things if this is somebody who's never met us or seen us before: our appearance, our attitude, and our skills. And not being on top of all three can cost you the contract. If you're going on a listing appointment, don't show up in shorts and flip flops. I would tend to think business professional would qualify, and also depending on the type of home and where it's located. If I'm going to home in Acton, or someplace that's more farm related, then clearly wearing a suit's a little too much, you know. So you kind of got to get to know the clientele and the circumstance. But I typically wear a shirt and tie and slacks when I go on listing appointments, or at the very least business professional. Because again, they haven't seen us. They can think that we're not that good just based on the way we're dressed. I hate to say that. Then your attitude.
Push the button, hold it.
Is your attitude positive? Is it upbeat? I mean, that can set the tone. Your skill level. Are you sitting there mumbling and jumbling, or are you getting right to the point? Are you focusing on closing versus a whole bunch of non-relevant stuff? Unfortunately, people think I'm going to try to develop rapport. Hey, Rob, do you golf? I also golf. That doesn't develop rapport. They don't even know you. That could be something later that you can bring in, but you're focusing on their needs, listening to what they're saying, repeating and affirming, showing that you're listening, and that's how you're developing rapport. Nodding your head affirmatively, smiling, eye contact, firm handshake. You know, in this days, clearly I don't handshake with anybody because COVID, but you know, you could do the COVID bump or the fist bump, but you get my point. The point is you have to play the part because that's how you're being evaluated. If they're going to sell their home and they're starting to cry to you for the Susanna, I don't think I'm going to find another home, and I love this home so much, and you're going to say, well, you know, I don't know if you're going to be able to find another home. You just lost them. You need to be the rock of Gibraltar, no matter what they say. You need to separate yourself from the transaction and reassure them that it's going to be okay. I'll give you an example. I come back to this. I'm not sure if Josh is on the call or not, but he may or may not remember this. But years ago, my wife had surgery at UCLA. She had one of the top surgeons over there. And the guy comes out to talk to my son and I, and my son was young at that time. And the surgeon comes says something that I'll never forget. I couldn't sleep at all last night thinking about your wife's case. Whether you were or weren't able to sleep, I don't need to hear that. Yeah, you know, even if you gotta fake it till you make it. That's the attitude they want to see that it's going to work out. You know, not to get into politics and not regardless of who's in power. We've had presidents that no matter how bad it was, they made you feel that it's going to be okay. You know, after they spoke, and regardless of which side or whatever the case might. But that's a skill. You need to be able to have the skill and the attitude that things will work out. And through practice, you can make that happen. It's showtime. You got to come in there ready to go, know what you want to do, reach out to me, and we can help you with some of those things. So we're all shooting for this. Now, here's the important point. I mean, they're all important, but when clearly you want to have generation and lead follow up on your schedule, and clearly want to go on appointments. When you become busy and good, you're going to go on a lot of appointments, which will lead to negotiating contracts. So your day might be spent more toward appointments and negotiating contracts. That is the goal. We want to negotiate purchase contracts from sellers to buyers and vice versa, okay, or even price reduction. So this is the fourth thing on your agenda, okay, is negotiating contracts. Sellers hire us for two reasons, ladies and gentlemen: getting the home sold and to negotiate the contract to the highest dollar amount possible. They don't care about your marketing plan, to be very honest. They don't care about how many homes you sold. That might be fluff to get you there, but they want you to sell the home quickly, know that you can sell it, and to show them that you get them the highest dollar amount possible. That's the universal common denominator. They want more money. I don't care where you're at in the world, everybody wants more money. So the more appointments you'll go on, the better your skills are, the more contracts you're going to negotiate, which clearly is going to impact your time spent on lead generation, lead follow up. But that's what we're shooting for, is appointments that lead to negotiating contracts, if that makes sense. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Me personally, I don't negotiate contracts till the afternoon or evening. Okay. The only exception would be if I represent a buyer and we wrote an offer on multiple properties, and they gave us a deadline, or they gave them a quick counter offer that has to be dealt with by midday or something like that. That would be the only exception. But typically, I don't negotiate contracts till afternoons or evening. I don't go on my appointments till the afternoon. The weekends are a little different. I'll go on a weekend appointments. I work on the weekends by appointments only. I'll go in early in the morning on appointments. Okay, but you have to have a schedule, and you have to stick to your schedule. And because somebody says, come list me, don't drop these other things. If you had an open house, now the only thing I would drop, if you're doing a vacant open house, if it's vacant, and now somebody walks in and wants you to show a property real quick, and they're pretty much ready to go. Somebody tells you, come list me. Well, just put a sign on the door, be back in 15 minutes or 30 minutes, and go do it. But if it's an owner occupied property, whether it's your listing or somebody else from the office, or especially another agent or broker from another office, you certainly don't want to cancel it or don't do it uh, when they're expecting that, and especially without them knowing. But you want to be professional about all these things. This is where we make the money. This is something where it would keep my business going beyond business hours. I would stay up and negotiate, not crazy too late, but sometimes you can't reach your client till 7 or 8 at night. And it's important that you negotiate. Well, guess what? I'm going to negotiate that contract even a little bit later, because that's going to put money in my pocket. You know, I try not to do listing appointment late. I did one this year, unfortunately, about 8 o'clock, a little too late for my taste, but it is what it is. That's the only time they can become available. You have to be flexible with certain clients. But this is what we're building. As you become more professional and good and more busy, you'll be going to more appointments, and you'll be negotiating more contracts, which will lead to a little bit less time on lead generation and lead follow up, but don't give those up. We're in a business that what you do today will impact your income in 90 days, or what you don't do today will impact your income in 90 days. So that's the important point I'm trying to make there. Okay. Negotiating contracts to me also means price reduction. If you have a listing, and let's say you price the property at 545, like Palmdale, and you're not getting showings, need to reduce the price. Well, talking to the seller or meeting them face to face to negotiate a price reduction is very important. It's like getting a new listing, and you get more calls, more showings, and it's a quicker way of getting yourself paid and the property. So remember, our job is to get the home sold and negotiate it to the highest dollar amount possible. Okay. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Good. Now, the last one of the 5 income producing activities. So just a refresher, we want to prospect or lead generate. We want to do lead follow up every day that we're working. The goal is to go on appointments every day or every week, depending on what you're looking to do. Now, clearly, we're not going to negotiate contracts every day. If we do, that's great. Our goal is to do that, but it's probably not going to happen. So, anytime you have, before we get to script practice and role play, which is another point, anytime you have a vacancy in that time block that you have, let's say you set up, I'm going to negotiate contract between 5 and 6. Don't, and you have no contracts to negotiate, don't just go home early. Okay, do something else. Nothing precludes you from doing more lead generation or lead follow-up, or doing script practice, or even previewing property online, which is important. Okay, here's the most, one of the most important ones that I think was responsible for my conversion from 1 sale my first year, 2 sales my second year, to a top producer for the rest of my career. Scripts practice, role play. Top producers, even somebody like Neil Weichel, practice for a minimum of 30 minutes a day. Practicing scripts, dialogues, closing techniques, objection handlers, your listing presentation daily will make you money in the future. This is your 401k right there, than any other exercise to sharpen your skills. If you're going on appointments and you're not getting the contract signed, your skills are lacking. Your closing technique is lacking, and you need to practice that. The feedback you're getting is you're not doing the job there. So you need to practice that. Practice, 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 practice. And we've got scripts, we've got dialogues, we've got objection handlers for you, we got listing presentation, you name it, I can help you with that. And again, even if you're only working with your sphere and past clients, you should still be able to have dialogues that are not going to sound scripted. You're not going to be reading from material. But this is the quickest way to get production. And if you really want to shoot to get more production, if you're not going to appointments, you're not negotiating contracts, then spend more time lead generation or prospecting, lead follow up, and script practice, even if you have to do it twice a day. Get yourself role play partners that you commit to once a week with that person. Don't do it every day, once a week, and get yourself different role play partners and do it for 30 minutes or less, no more than 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes on the same time on the phone or a virtual meeting. And change partners every 3 months. You want somebody with the same skills as you or just slightly better, not too much better. Okay. And you can change partners, but you can practice different things. It'll make you more comfortable and confident besides just doing it with yourself or in front of a mirror or in front of your significant other, your kids, your dogs. Okay. I've done them all. You know, I've practiced those even before I knew that they have audio visuals now. I used to practice those when nobody came into my open house, and I'm not sure if they had audio visual, but I guess they would have looked at me weird, kind of practicing my script. But I did that. I actually did that. You know, I used to practice during my open house when nobody walked in. I'd practice my scripts and dialogues, etc. But collectively, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the quickest way to increase your income. If you're not getting going on appointments and getting enough signature, nobody gets 100% of all the signatures. Then something in your script, your dialogues, your skills, your closing technique is lacking. Nobody's born a salesperson. It's a learned behavior. It's through repetition. Repetition is the mother of all learning, the mother of skill. And that's the secret sauce. So this is one of the most important skills. And again, if at any point we go and we block our time to any of these activities and we can fill that activity, nothing prevents you from doing more prospecting or lead follow-up or even practicing or even rewriting your script so you know what you're doing or practicing your listing presentation. I practice my listing presentation now at least once a week. I don't have to do as much because I've been on enough presentations and I go off on enough that it's second nature. But again, I still practice those if I know I'm competing for a listing before the listing appointment. I'm a sharpshooter. I have to be a sharpshooter. You know, this morning I practiced my objection handlers. I still practice that. It's important to do that. Okay. All right. Let's go to couple of important things here to wrap it up and we'll open up to question. Collectively, what is the most significant aspect and most important of the concept of five income producing activity? Does anybody know? If you're looking at all the five income producing from lead generation to lead follow up to appointments, negotiating contracts, script practice, and role play, what is the most significant aspect of having those on a schedule and knowing what they are? Anybody want to take a shot at that?
Lead follow-up.
You're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. But if we know that these are income producing activity, we know that not necessarily in any order lead generation, lead follow up, appointments, negotiating contracts, script practice, and role play. What does that help us do with the time we spend on our schedule?
I didn't get your question.
Sure. So if we know that there's five income producing activities that should constitute 85% of your day or your real estate day. Now, again, for some of you, it's 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock. For some of you, 9 to 6. For some of you, you have another job and you're saying, I'm going to do real estate between 4 and 8 p.m. whatever that time frame is for you, okay? You know that there's 5 categories
That
of
helps.
income producing activities. Okay. Knowing that, it allows you to analyze and identify all the non-income producing activities. Putting a lockbox is not an income producing activity. Opening a door for an inspector or for an appraiser is not an income producing activity. Going to the MLS, look, some of you are newer and you have to do your mandatory MLS training, but going to the MLS for additional training beyond the ethics class, to me, is not an income producing activity. You know, um, dropping your prospecting or lead follow up to listen to a webinar is not an income producing activity. I hate to say that. You know, now, again, this is helping in your future, but this is what realtors do. They call it avoidance. If you go to any real estate office, even some of the archaic brick and mortar ones, and you walk around, you see people appear to be busy, busy, busy. But the majority of them, if you look at their 1099 or bank accounts, they're really not that busy. They're busy acting like they're busy, if that makes sense. So the goal is to identify what's non-income, and then you either eliminate it or delegate it. You can delegate. So that's why I have transaction coordinator for all of you here.
Right.
That's why you should have, as you grow your business and you become a powerful listing agent, that's the direction you want to go. Maybe have a buyer's agent. Or at some point, when you do 30 to 40 or more transactions a year, you might want to consider hiring an assistant, administrative assistant at that point, not before that. I wouldn't do that before that. But a buyer's agent might be something you might want to consider if you're doing a lot of deals and you don't want to go into certain markets and you want to focus more on listings or certain price points. But the key is to identify it and eliminate or delegate. If it's not income producing, well, it's not important. I mean, getting the flyers done, and yeah, I guess you need to get the flyers done because it's part, at least your marketing, but you need to plug it in to something that's not time efficient. Not during the time that you can call or interact with people, if that makes sense. So the more we can analyze and plug it into one of these categories, the more we can eliminate or delegate those activities. I don't touch a transaction. The minute it goes into escrow, Shannon gets it. Now, I know what's going on in my transaction. If I need to intervene, there's certain things she can't do for me. She can't negotiate price adjustments if there's an appraisal issue. She can't negotiate credits or if there's an issue with the home inspection. She's not going arbitrarily send a notice to perform or demand a close. I got to negotiate those. Uh, so I still have to do that. I still have to do a final walkthrough or send somebody on my behalf in an agent visual inspection. But the paperwork she can send out, the disclosure she can send out, etc., on my behalf, if that makes sense. Be efficient. Know what your income producing activities. When I struggled, I spent time on the following 3 activities: lead generation, lead follow up, and more role playing practice. And that's usually going to kick in your business. Then it's going to lead to more appointments and more contracts signed. So let's go over some stuff. Here's a little homework assignment for all of you. I want you to identify, and next week, by next Friday, do it between whenever you work. If you're not working again today, let's say you're going to work Monday through Friday next week, or you're going to work Saturday. So whenever you actually work between today and next Friday in real estate, to whatever degree, whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever the key is, identify any non-income producing activity in your workday and email it to me. Eliminate it or delegate it, and send me an email of the ones that you identify and how you're going to eliminate it or delegate it. Now, some of you, granted, you don't have the luxury, you're not doing enough deals yet, and you have other jobs that you don't have the luxury to really delegate some of that or eliminate. So just show me how you do that when you're not wasting time, if that makes sense. By you putting it on paper and identifying it, you're a step closer to success. You'll be shocked if you actually took time to see what you're spending your time on. I did that couple times recent times, and I was shocked that I thought, oh, I'm spending all day prospecting. When I looked at it, I was like, oh, 4 hours. So what am I doing the rest of the hours? I'm like, oh, okay, I'm training agents. Okay, I got that part. But what happens after? So sometimes we fool ourselves, and I'm not saying you have to be a slave to your schedule. Your schedule is there as a guide to keep you on track, and it should be dynamic and flexible, if that makes sense. Here's a great quote: if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. Danica Corsa used to be a Mike Ferry trainer, and she's got her own company, training company. She was top producing realtor, and it's an important point. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a date with your significant other, put that on your schedule. And if somebody asks you about, hey, you already have a date with your significant other, let's say 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. tonight for dinner. Well, a prospect calls you, you're not going to drop that date. And you're not going to tell them I have a date with my significant, I'm already have an appointment. That's an appointment. If you go to your hairdresser, put that on your schedule. If you go see your son Billy play ball, put that on your schedule. Your clients don't have to, they just need to know you have an appointment. And I can help you at this time or that time. If it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. Since we just started 2022, put down your family vacations, the birthdays you need to attend, any recitals, any anniversaries, and work backwards from there. If you work another job, the times that you're working other jobs, and then start working from there in terms of your schedule. And then make it flexible. You don't become a slave to your schedule. Your schedule is merely there to help you. It's only a guide. If you need to adjust it, by all means, adjust it. But you need to be able to, if it's not your schedule, it doesn't exist. Like I said, if I got a phone call today, say, hey, Dan, come list my house. Well, guess what? None of you would have got an email or text message from me that we're canceling the webinar. It wouldn't have happened. Okay. Doesn't happen. Okay. I have things to do, and people respect that. And if they don't respect that, I don't need to work with that person. It's that simple. Your accountant, your doctor, your attorney, your financial planner, they all have a schedule. If you have a good hairstylist, they got a schedule as well. You know, they're not going to just drop everything just because I want to see this house. We got to act the same way. We got to act professional. Have a schedule when you're working showing properties, when you're not. Set your clientele to know when they can reach you and when they cannot. And I think some of you have heard me say that before. When I meet a client, I generally tell them that if you call me after 6 p.m., generally I'm not going to return calls till the next business day. Now I also explain to them that the banks are closed, escrow and title are closed. Nothing urgent will happen. Now, granted, if that's the only time that person can see a home, or if they're really busy and I got to meet them for a little, I'll work around them. But most people are flexible enough to work with you. I just set that tone that way. I typically don't answer my. I have a client try to call me several times this morning. She said, "Don't call me till the afternoon. I'm on appointments. This is an appointment." Guess what? She called me. I ignored it. I'm not going to jump on that because there's nothing that earth shattering that she needs to do right now that cannot wait till later.
I
It's
think
simple as that.
I think that's one of the best advice you ever gave to me was that right there. Because and also the advice that you always give me is that if someone calls you at 6 in the morning, escrow doesn't open till 9, or someone calls
Right.
you at 8 o'clock at night, escrow doesn't open till the next day. So it'll still be there tomorrow. Don't run around like a chicken with your head cut off, kind of thing.
Exactly.
I think it was
Yeah.
good advice.
Yeah, absolutely. And never do what I did. People do initially. I'm available 24/7. Don't ever do that, because then you have no respect for your time. So why would they respect your time? Look, they're not trying to disrespect you. They just don't know better. You just need to educate them and show them through professionalism. I'm available this time and that time. And I can assure you, you'll get great service from me. There's something called reasonable time, ladies and gentlemen. If you get a lead and you can't talk to them, at least text them. Hey, I got your inquiry. I'm on an appointment. Do you have time to talk later this afternoon or evening or another? At least acknowledge them. And that's the thing I love about text messaging. You don't have to sit there talking to somebody a lot. but just acknowledge that person as early as possible. Be professional. You know, announce yourself as a real estate agent when you're calling other agents to show properties, or you got a prospect or something like that. Don't be some of those agents or non-professionals that are texting me, "I like to show you property." Well, who are you and which property? I mean, I don't have just one listing. I have a company that I'm running, whether they know it or not. Don't assume that one person only has one listing, even if they do have one listing, whatever the case might be. Be specific. Just be professional, and it will move in the right direction. Questions, comments, feedback, complaints, anything I can clarify before we hang up today?
Good stuff, Dan. I love it.
Okay, so before you guys and gals leave, what would be something that all of you would prefer for next week? Do you want to do um, me walk you through MLS? Do you want to do contracts? Do you want to do more training like this when we're working on income producing activities? What would help the group right now collectively? And if we can't get it all based on unanimous vote, we'll add some of those things to subsequent weeks. But as a whole, how many of you would like to do more of this kind of stuff and build on that next week?
I'd like to do the MLS training.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good for me too. If you could learn a couple things, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. What I'll do is have your all of you have MLS access. Have your MLS with you so you can follow along with what I'm doing. I'll send you the link, and we'll do several things. We'll do number one, how to do searches that I do and how to put somebody on a search. And number two, I'll show you what I do if I have to do a CMA, a market evaluation on the MLS. What am I looking at? And we'll even tap into how does Dan Alon look at market statistics. By the time you guys and gals are done, you'll be so professional more than your competition that you'll be able to, on a dime, on a spot, be able to do that, or at your open house or before your next open house. So perfect. I'll put that on the schedule. I'll send the link for next Friday at 10 a.m. I'll upload this link and send you the link so all of you can review. Feel free to reach out to me. Appreciate everybody's support in business, and wishing all of you a productive day and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dan.
You're very welcome. How do I log off? What do I do? I don't. That's the one thing I still don't know how to do.